Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Welcome back if you're a returning person. Welcome if you're new. I'm Stacy and today we are going to be unboxing my new HIMI Maya gouache paint. Let's close this for safety. I got one of these several years ago. I ended up giving it to my daughter. This, when I ordered it, I didn't realize HIMI and Maya are the same company. Look, check it out. So this is gouache. I'm sure you've seen these before. I wanted to go ahead and unbox them together. They come wrapped in plastic. Let's pop that off. I'll probably take that sticker off as well because it's gonna bug me. We'll go ahead and... This is heavy, you guys. This is pretty heavy. I got the 56 set. Right? Yeah, 56 gouache set. And it comes, this is what the whole thing looks like. I do wish, I've seen the ones with little holes so you can push the cup up from the bottom. I may drill little holes in the bottoms of these this time, we'll see. But it comes like this. You just pop your little handles out. When you, ooh, look at the packaging, delightful. And this has a little foam insert, supposedly to keep your paint from drying out. It does help, but there's a little rubber gasket here. It does help, but I did find that the paint does dry out if you don't use it. If you don't use it regularly, it's gonna dry out on you a little bit. But we'll see how this does. This is the 56 color set. This is their swatch. I like that it's matte, that it doesn't have a gloss. It's our color chart for how they have things mapped out in here. I will probably change the mapping of this to suit my needs. You know, because artist, I'm allowed to do what I want. Oh, look! A fun card. That's cute. That's a little creepy too, but it's cute. If you're looking for Maya or HIMI arts, they do have handles if you're interested. Let's go ahead and open these up. Let's see. My instinct is to just flip this over and dump them out because I don't have much for fingernails. I do like that the cups are clear. Let's see how easy. Oh, okay, these are easy to tear off. Nice. The last set that I got years ago, it's been about maybe not 6 years. Probably about 4 years. I'll have to look on my feed. Nice full cup of gouache. Am I worried about, can I even read? That's all in. Yeah, no English. So that's fine. I'm not gonna worry about color names. I don't remember anyways once I get going and painting. I have a little rag off to the side. I'm gonna go ahead and set the little doodads over there. So this is what it looks like all opened up, all gorge. Just I dig it so much. All right, man, see, I'm a disaster. Let's close these before I hurt myself. I have to wash these. I'll leave them out. I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna wash my hands. I'm gonna go through and mix these all up, and then we're gonna swatch them out. There's a piece of plastic right there that went flying when I was, there we go, opening them up. I'm gonna clean up the mess and I'll be right back. Okay guys, I have the palette set up the way I want, and I will work with it this direction on the table. I won't ever work with it the other way. It takes up too much space. Plus, to have the artwork and the palette in the shot for you guys is also paramount, right? I can always pull out the cups that I'm using and set them in a separate palette too. It's an option instead of putting the whole thing out. But I want to go ahead and swatch them all with you. I'm going to swatch the white even though I know, you know, it's white. But, and I'm using Arch's 140-pound cold pressed watercolor paper for my swatching. Because it's what I had out and pre-cut, so I had a big sheet and I went ahead and cut it in half. It's actually one of the big sheets that I'd already cut down. And I think this white is a little touch different from the other one. I went ahead and I just did a simple grid on the paper because there are no like color names. There are their color names, but I've pulled these all out of order, so I'm not gonna stress about it too much. I'm just gonna roll with it. I won't remember anyways as I'm working. Like, this is buff titanium, right? And when I'm working on a piece, I will think about it in a traditional sense, like watercolor, traditional watercolor names. Just for it to make sense in my brain, you know? Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. I need a cloth for dipping. I'm getting too much water in the mix. These are my paint rags. Got them at the dollar store. Set of 5. There we go. And this is going to be a quick swatching session. It doesn't need to be like crazy in depth, but I do want to know what the colors look like dry because there is a slight color shift. And I'd like to know which direction that is before I use it in a painting. I really like this yellow right here. Reminds me of Naples yellow. Anybody else? There we go. And the paper is bowing just a bit where I've used too much water. That's okay, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not worrying about filling the square completely as I go down either. Just a quick swatching session to get the colors out of paper. Once again, so I know what that shift looks like when I'm painting with them. It's been a while since I've used these, the jelly cups, gouache in general, to paint. There we go. I do love that flat matte finish. It is incredibly satisfying. I just did 1-inch squares on the paper. 7 down, 8 across. For simplicity's sake. I'm just going to prop this up as I'm using the paint so that I have an idea of what I'm dipping into, you know? You know? Come up here and get this atrocious yellow. I mean, I'll use it for probably spring leaves, fall leaves, that kind of thing. It's just incredibly lemony, right? It's that lemon yellow. And we're into the softer. This is most likely that color with white in it. And that's what I tried to put these in, that colorway. Similar colors that look like variants of each other, I put close to each other. Like a light and a dark, or a light and a medium, that kind of thought pattern. This is nice. This one reminds me of Gamboge. I do love me some Gamboge. just slightly darker. These two are between that gamboge. This one feels a little more peachy. Just a skosh darker as they go down, right? So if you don't want a color mix, you know, you have all these options for gradations, which is nice. And I did like my oranges next to my browns. Which one am I on? This one. There we go. All the like neutral or natural, more neutral colors. Blah, blah, blah. Say that 10 times fast. This bold orange, leaning more red, but still in that brown family, right? Our one deep brown that we have, which I would categorize as sepia, or Van Dyke. Van Dyke brown is also very dark. See if you thin that out. That'll lead more Van Dyke probably. And then we'll come up here and start with our greens. This super vibrant green. And these all have a place. Like this would be a really nice spring green mixed with a little bit of sap to get that lovely gradient. And gouache you can use as a watercolor or thick, like you can use it slightly thicker on your paper as well. You want to be mindful of not layering up too much though, because if your gouache is too thick and chunky, there is a risk of it flaking off the page. Now we're getting into the greens that I really like, these variants. These are the ones that I enjoy. This kind of muted, depending on what you're using it for, of course, but just to look at them, isn't that pretty? I dig it. Let's get rid of some of that water. Dip back in. What a nice. And some of these colors, if you layer them up, see how nice matte that finish is? I dig it so much. You'll get an even nicer like coverage. You put down a thin layer and it doesn't quite cover the way you want. You can always put another layer down, just like watercolor. Keeping in mind that, see, these two colors are very, very close. To my eye, I would use them interchangeably. This one's slightly more yellow, but not by much. This one, I like this one. That super earthy. Too much water going on again. And normally when I do a swatch, I would do a gradient, but I don't care to do that with gouache. This is a pretty quick swatching session. I'm not being super precise. I'm just trying to grid out for usefulness, right? I like this color. That's a nice sap green. And this one reminds me of Pyrrole a little bit. It's that, got that very bright, like when you thin it out, it gets very bright. I might leave a few light sections on this one so I remember that. There we go. These are greens that I mix with other colors. I'm going to leave a little bit of gradient on that one as well. Just drop some water in there. Is that dry? Yeah. It is also fun to use a color scheme you wouldn't normally use. Did that row, so we're going to scoot over one and go across here. Get that mass tone down, right? For the most part, for all of these swatches. So this one just toned down a bit. To me. To my eyeball. I like this color. This is nice. Yeah, I dig that one. I mean, I like them all so far on the paper. They look very different to me on the paper than they do in the palette. They're not shiny anymore. They get that nice flat matte finish, which I thoroughly enjoy. And I've never really liked a glossy painting myself, just, you know, personal preference. Sometimes it's nice, just depends on the circumstances, I guess. What about you guys? Do you prefer a glossy painting to a matte painting? I do like a glossy finish on like my clay things or my ornaments that I make up, my wood ornaments that I paint. But I think that's more because it's a holiday thing. That one's okay. Oh, where's my spot here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. And the variant for some of these greens is not so much that they couldn't be used interchangeably, some of them. These two. Probably should have put them next to each other. Too late now. Just rolling with it at this point. I put them in this order because that one is a lighter version of this one. This one's just a touch darker, which means it just has more black in it, or less white. It's probably more appropriate. This I really love. It's kind of, it's blue, but it's green, that kind of leaning color. If you put it next to other blues, it'll look more blue. If you put it next to greens, it'll look more green. That does matter a lot in color as well. The color you put next to the color you're using will visually change the color. It's incredible to watch. And this is just another less white version of the one next to it. So when you do pick out your gouache set, and because some of the 24, 36, and 48 sets have enough variant in them that you're not getting this close same in your color choices, so you can get a more economical paint set. You don't have to buy the 56 set. You could go with just a 24, 36, or 48 set and have more than enough paint to last you for a long time, well over a year. The last set of these that I got, I had for 3 or 4 years, and I barely put a dent in them. Now, mind you, I don't use gouache as much as I wasn't using gouache as much as I like to now. Then, but yeah, this one's really pretty. That's that aqua color, that aqua blue. cerulean. And this is my ultramarine. Probably won't granulate like ultramarine does. I put way too much paint on that brush. But it does give that beautiful ultramarine look. Put a little dollop of water in there. And then this one is that Prussian. I do love me some Prussian. I think because I'm going to do a gradient on this one because Prussian is that blue that reads black. And if you mix it with a little bit of purple, look at that. It's just glorious. And it'll fade out into a beautiful bright blue depending on how much water you use. I'm going to pick some of that up. Just dry that brush and come in here and pick up some of that. Get a nice, so you just have a nice idea. I do love Prussian so much for like night skies. There's a lot of, on the watercolor paper, you see that granulation happening? Ooh, dig that. Wonder if it'll do that in a painting. It does depend on the paper for granulation, very much so. This one reminds me of cobalt purple, M. Graham's cobalt purple. Just put some water in there. Pick some of that up. There we go. Yeah, I like that too. And this is a variant on that cobalt. A little more vibrant, just a little more bright. A little more water over here. Get that. A little bit of gradient. And the ones I'm doing a gradient on are just so that I remember later what those, so that I can remember later what those colors will do for me. Did I jump a color? I did, I missed one. Did I miss one? I think I missed one. 1, 2, 3. Yep, I missed this guy. Dang it. You know what we do? You know what you do? You pool these with water. You reactivate them really, really well. Since they're not quite dry. Just really reactivate them. Grab some paper towel. It's another learning thing for you guys. Just kind of pick them up. A little more water. Oops. Splashed it everywhere. And because this is gouache, it will cover really, really well the color that's already down. So we can go ahead and grab that color that I missed right here. Make a nice swatch. Maybe it's this one that I was thinking was more marine, ultramarine feeling instead of that one. And then we'll put our Prussian here, nice and bold. Gouache is pretty good. You get that nice coverage, see? Nice to get. All right, and then we can do our purples here. Like so. This one. Over that, and then this one. There we go. Now we got it. Perfect. Got it. Haha. Alright, and I put the gray and the black side by side up here because those are the last two holes. I could have put them over here, but that's just not where they fell. So the gray is really nice. You can add a little bit of any color to it. If you want a yellow gray, you can add a little bit of yellow. If you want a green gray, you can add a little green. And so on. A touch of blue, a touch of purple, just a tiny touch will give you that leaning color. It's pretty cold gray. Let's grab our black. Black is black. Isn't that a song? Black is black. I want my baby back. Gray is gray. Yeah. Clock that song, you guys. Alright, so from the gray, we're going to do this crazy, incredibly bright neon pink. See, these are the kinds of colors I'm like, I have no idea where I would ever use this color. And then later on in a sketchbook, I put that crazy color down and work on top of it. And it looks pretty cool peeking out through the layers of paint that you're using. I really like this one. This one reminds me of opera, an opera pink. Really pretty. Let's get a little gradient going there. Just so that I remember that it makes pretty pinks if you use it light enough. That pretty opera pink. Not that there aren't pretty pinks in here, but sometimes you want that specific effect. And yeah. And yeah. Got some blue in there, so my pink is getting a little purpley. Do a little blot right there, so it bleeds less. Heavy application of pink. There we go. There, perfect. This is a more corally pink, more of a true pink. That's very purple leaning pink. That's why they grabbed that blue and got gray almost right away. This is really pretty. But it's not this pink. See that you can get that soft gradient for florals. These are more, you know, those traditional pinks, color crayon pinks that you're thinking about. Different gradients of them. I like this muted purpley pink color. I think it's very pretty. It's one of those colors that definitely needs a friend though, right? It can't just be on its own or it looks dirty. It looks unkept. And this one as well. This one's reminding me of aubergine, kind of leaning that way. If you mixed in a couple colors, you could get aubergine really easily. It is also leaning very brown, but it was more purple to me, more in here than over here. That's why it's over this way. Okay, let's get into our peaches. Do love me some peaches. That almost flesh tone, right? You could start with that and add other colors and really easily shift flesh tones. Add pinks, add browns, add purples, and get that whole range. One, two, three, four. La da 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 da. Now we're getting into the coral colors. A little darker than that one. I'm dipping into those bright oranges. Little gradient on this one would be nice. There we go. Dry the brush and just pick up a little bit. And then this one is more pink. We're going peach into orange. And this one I feel like is more of a pinky peach color. But it didn't really go with this over here for me, visually. So it needs to lean more orange red on this side of the world. And then kind of color crayon red, right? That super alizarin crimson. Or would this be more of a, just more of a true red? I think the next one leans more alizarin. This one I really like. It's not alizarin, that one's more alizarin. Alizarin is more orange leaning. And this one, I'll have to get out my M-gram colors to compare. This one I love. Because it's got that, it can go pink. Let me get a better gradient going on here. It can give you a soft pink if you pull that back. See how you can get a soft pink here, or you can get a soft red pink here. And I like that. So we'll leave it like that. And there we go. There's all of our colors swatched out. Let's let them dry. We're going to do a super quick painting. Something super quick. Let's do maybe a little landscape. I feel like I should get my other water though. I have 2 of these cups, so super handy. But you can see the difference in the colors once they dry. That shine is gone. You've got that matte finish. It shifts just slightly. Each one shifts just slightly. So important to know, I think, when you're planning a piece. So I have this scrap of paper from cutting this down. The little sliver that I had on the edge I tossed because it was just like a teeny little bitty sliver for my tape. Just tape it down right quick. Give us a clean little border because I do love that. Maybe a straight border would be nice. There we go. And this is just dollar store masking tape. I picked up 3 rolls of it. I don't press it down really hard because it can get a little too tacky for some papers and do a little bit of damage, but Arches is pretty resilient, so I'm not going to stress it too much. There we go. Taped down. Now let's do a little play. I'm going to use a fat square brush. I don't have any of my, and I do have this brush out still too. I don't have any more flat brushes. My daughter has my whole set of flat brushes, so I need to buy more. Oops. Let's do a little, I'm going to start here. Pull that down, do a little more. Nice. And the thing with gouache is you can get a really nice gradient going. You can put in a touch of white and it'll thin it out. I haven't played with gouache in quite some time, and my white generally tends to get muddied up pretty quickly. Just go straight across and all the way down. And you can carry the blue. We're gonna do a little landscape, super quick. Get that all in. Mind the children screaming outside. School's just letting out. And then on the top, let's do, I think I'm gonna pull this down. Just gonna thin it out and pull it down. And then grab just a touch of the blue and put it down here. Maybe there's water down there, like that. Do we want to do white clouds? Let's do some tapping. The brush split like that naturally because it's an old brush that I've had for quite some time. And just tap in some cloud formations. Spin it around, come in with more white, and this is just a little playtime. I'm not trying to go for realism. And then my brain kicks in and I'm like, wait a minute. And don't be afraid to have a little bit of fun with your paints. Just kind of tap it in. This brush is not the best for this kind of thing. Just do that, maybe a little bit coming in there. And if your paint does not dry all the way, and you should, if you want crisp colors layering one over the other, you definitely want it to be completely dry before you go in with like crazy clouds and things. Let's do a little, I'm gonna grab a little bit of brown, a little bit of this, a touch of that, okay? So I've got three, there we go, 3 colors on the brush. And I'm just gonna come in here and throw in a little mountain. And it doesn't have to be spectacular. It doesn't have to be anything, you know, crazy amazing. Too much light in there, but that's all right. That. Do like those 2 colors. I hesitate to use that for scratch paper. Just want to mix it a bit on the brush. I'm losing my textures. That's okay. With gouache, you can always come back and do it again once it dries. brush is a bit too big for this endeavor. Put a little bit of green in there. Remembering that the further away it gets, the hazier it is. And we don't need that mountainside to be quite that stark. That. A little bit of this on that ridge. A little bit of that over here. Like that. And you can go in with a touch of bright, right? It's going to mix in with what's on the page, so there you go. Grab both of those colors, come in here. Some trees happening in the back, in the distance. Well, this is not going to be like a super crazy amazing piece or anything like that. Just do that. That. Give us a little tiny jagged water line back here. Pull those up. Then just a little down. And take a little bit of weight. Get those clouds in there. Get that little sparkle line in back here. The edge of the water. Grab a touch of that blue. And in like that. I mean, this is just a fun piece to play with the paint and see what it'll do. And note how out of practice I am with gouache, but I do love it. Need to watch some tutorials. I have a couple people that I follow that do really beautiful tutorials with gouache, so gonna have I have to really get in there and do some learning. Go ahead and tap in a little bit of bright. I didn't quite get that reflection in that I wanted, but that's okay. I just do another little drag down like that. And another little skimming like that. And then, no, you wouldn't normally use white for this, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyways. Like that. And do a little sparkle in the water. The light. Oh, jumped right out of my hand. It's like, you're done, lady. Just little sparkles. Alright, good enough. Good enough for just a playtime. Let's see. And you should wait for it to dry completely so you get that nice crispity edge. There we go. 45-degree angle on that tape helps a lot. And keep your scraps, your offcuts for practice like this. There we go. Just fun little gouache practice. Feel all out of sorts about it, but that's okay. That's why we do this, so that we can learn together, grow together. There is our swatch, our little terrible painting, and all of our lovely paints. I hope the video is not too long. I hope you guys stuck around through the whole thing. If you did, maybe put a thumbs up or a happy face in the comments. It really does help the channel grow. And I will see you guys in our next video. Bye.